like it's underutilized by a lot of people. Make your own songs. So you make your lick, get the lick in that you like, and then start chopping it up as if someone had given you some song. You chop it up, you manipulate it the way you want to, you make something completely different. You could do that again after. You know, one of the things
I'm saying just focus just on the vocals.
Do whatever you like, whatever it is you feel like your
Yeah, I mean,
strength is.
that's my strength. My strength is coming up with like really good
That's it.
tunes.
That's it, because there's plenty of other artists around that don't have that strength.
Yeah.
There's other people who want to collaborate with you that don't have that strength, but you've got it. So let's make a proper team. If your strength is music or your strength is vocals or anything like that, go hardcore into it, man. Go straight into it, because you will find other people that want to, they're like, oh, I love that sound. Can I do this with you? Or can I do that with you? You know, and you do it. You'll be
Yeah, it's
fine.
been so aggravating because I had so many good like songs or potential for songs, but you know, I didn't have the wherewithal. Even just the guitar, I didn't have the wherewithal to create a final song.
Then maybe it's not your job to do.
Yeah.
Maybe your job is to get there and to have it to a place where someone else is like, I want to work with you. Because you don't have to do everything alone, especially nowadays. I mean, we're so connected nowadays.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
You know, so we have somebody that just walked in.
Hi, my name is Lenise Webb.
Hi,
It's nice to
Lenise.
meet you.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I happen to see you on the MeetUp thing today. I
Okay.
was just going through some groups. I hadn't been in a MeetUp group in a while.
Okay.
I happened to see you and I was like, wow, that's nice. Cause I had been thinking, you know, some months ago that I wouldn't mind getting up with some new music people again. I have not actually played my keyboard since 1999.
Wow, okay.
I mean, in public.
Okay.
And
That's
my
okay.
experience was I used to play for the worship group in Korea.
Mhm.
And when I first got here, I played in Hampton a little bit. But
Okay.
then life got me busy and stuff, and so I had put away the stuff. I had even bought a violin from Korea, and that box got full, you know. So I've just really, I listen to jazz like almost 24/7,
Okay.
but when it comes to actually doing anything hands-on, it's, and my background is that I'm in IT. I've 20 plus years of doing that, so that's what my main focus has been over the years. But I was thinking that I'd like to integrate music into like the graphic and animation
Okay.
projects that I'm about to start back up, you know.
Okay.
So if you guys have the stuff, then I wanna learn.
Okay. Excellent.
Have you been using stuff like After Effects?
I haven't used it since 2004.
Well, since they're now in the Creative Cloud, the CC,
Yeah.
there's a lot more there. I know they have, you've probably seen on YouTube, a lot of the audio visualizers, you know, using audio waveforms, or spectrum waveforms, and there's a few other plugins inside of it now that you can really, even just bouncing down the, you're just getting keyframes from the audio, you can put it to another parameter and just do all sorts of things.
Cause I took an After Effects class, I think between 2003 and 2004, but it was like the introduction to it.
You don't have to do too much, really. I think one of the things, instead of trying to, like, you know, become fully proficient in it, if you kind of know what you want to do, I would suggest just going and trying to do that one project and see where you end up. If something stops you from going any further, learn how to do that, get over it, and then move on.
I wanted to learn how to do the special effects sounds for my animations, because I just wanna start
Like
doing
like
short.
Foley and that kind of stuff. Then.
Well, I've had experience working with Maya and 3ds Max, but now I wanna get into Blender, because I
Blender,
cannot
yeah.
afford Maya.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah,
3ds
Blender
Max.
would work.
Yeah. So, again, since you were working with the digital music now, again, my keyboards have always been just the regular ones that have the sounds embedded in them. I don't go any further because.
Hold on to them.
Okay.
Yeah, hold on to them.
All right.
Yeah. So, but, you know, with that being said, you know, the way things are now is everything's like virtualized whatnot, you know, but, there's something to be said about, you know, hardware synth, you know, and the sound that it generates. Like, that's why I have this box right here. You know, it has its own sounds built into it. It's a, you know, it's the, micro Corgas, you know, it's not the most user-friendly and intuitive, you know, but when you spend some time, then you start learning it, then you just start diving in. And I began to become amazed at what I'm able to pull out of it. You know, considering the fact that it's kind of limited in terms of how many sounds it has in it, but I'm able to go in and actually tweak and design.
Do you create
sounds.
your own samples?
Sometimes I do. A lot of times I like to just, you know, I'll go with just stock sounds that are coming right out of the virtual instruments or right out of here, and then I'll play around with effects. You know, I'll play around with delays, reverbs, you know, flanges, things of that nature, you know, and just kind of go from there. I also do a lot of layering, so I'll take stock sounds and I'll layer them, and you know, just kind of mix and match from there, you know, just to suit taste. I've gotten away from doing a lot of sampling per se, you know, like what you hear a lot of people doing, just because of the legalities and things like that, you know. So, hey, how you doing?
Hello.
Hey, what's your name?
My name's Forrest.
Hey, Forrest. Okay, Forrest. All right. I'm Faia, Josh, Joy, Ari, Michael.
Denise, just like Denise, but with an L.
Lenise.
Lenise,
Yeah.
just like Denise, but with
Lenise.
an L, yeah.
And my son Jordan in the corner.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Hello, everybody.
So, you want to tell us about what you got going on?
Sure. So, I basically, I brought with me a laptop and I got like FL Studio.
Okay.
Lately, I've been just messing with like an old Yamaha keyboard, just basically using like a, I don't know, just recording tracks with the keyboard
Yeah.
into that.
Okay.
But most of the recordings I would share with people are just like acoustic guitar, maybe some simple beats that I've made over the years. Just
Okay.
singer-songwriter type stuff, a little bit of hip-hop, rap, a little bit of acoustic, folk, pop stuff.
Okay. Excellent. Michael, what's your background?
I don't have any music capabilities. I'm more of an audiophile. I love beats.
Okay.
I got into EDM music probably 6 or 7 years ago and just been in it ever since. So
Okay.
Awesome.
I love anything with beats though. I've always listened to rock, R&B, hip hop, anything with country basically.
Okay.
I'll listen to. So,
Okay.
but my main affinity is EDM.
Okay. Excellent.
Got on before the yeah, exactly. Before the Skrillex train and after it too. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm not a fan of his in general, but you know, everybody hopped on that train a few years ago and then jumped off, and I still enjoy it.
Okay. Excellent.
And anything with audio or video. So
Well, just to kind of give you a little background on my end, I am active duty Navy, coming up on 14 years, and I just came off of a ship for 5 years, and I was in San Diego and ended up with orders out here. So I've been out here now for about a month. While I was in San Diego, I became part of a meetup out there called Open Oscillator, and it was basically kind of like a open mic type of thing, but for beat makers and producers and whatnot. Mixed genres, a lot of EDM type stuff, and the setups that you would see were just like, wow. You know, some of the setups were just, you know, pretty impressive, and some of the things that some of these guys were doing with actual synths and you know, modules, and you would have a few people come out with laptops and whatnot. It was definitely geared more towards synths, you know, synthesis, and you know, a few people would come out and they would just make something right off the cuff. You know, other people would bring out things that were rehearsed. But the thing that I liked about it was that it was a collaborative community. You know, a lot of people, they got together and they would collaborate and actually make music together. You know, spawn off other events together, and it was really about just kind of including everybody. You know, growth and development. There were a lot of people that were new to electronic music, and they got a lot of knowledge and help out of it. And when I came here, I was looking for kind of like that same thing, because even though I've been doing, you know, kind of doing this more as a hobby for many years, you know, there's still a whole lot I just don't know, because I don't do it full time. You know, I dab in it and I collect gear, and then I go long periods of time without being able to utilize it because of work, you know, deployments and things of that nature. And in the past 5 years, 2 deployments, one lasting 8 months and the other one lasting 7 months. The last one was the first one that I was actually able to find enough time to actually crank out some tracks, and which Josh found me on SoundCloud. You know, so, you know, so like I said, when I got out here, I didn't see anything on MeetUp that had that same type of, you know, vibe. And I figured, what the hell, why not just go ahead and create one and see what happened. And I'm actually amazed at how many people, you know, decided they wanted to actually participate. So I want to thank you for taking the time and, you know,
Thank you. That's really
showing
cool.
up,
Thank
you know.
Thank you, because I've been trying to get my little brother to he does DJing, but he's also a radio station
Yeah.
assistant manager
Mm-hmm.
at Hampton University, and he has his own show, and I'm like, you know, let me know all the stuff that you're doing to produce these
Mhm.
shows that you do, and
Mhm.
he just laughs at me. I'm like, come on, so
Yeah.
this here will help me to understand more
Yeah.
of the things that he's doing, because he works with those
Mhm.
producers that's up north, you know, like
Mhm.
Dink and
Mhm.
all of those people there, and, so I wanna know, you know, just the basics, just so
Yeah.
that I can understand some of the stuff. and-
Well, basics I can help out with, and it appears, Josh, you do this full time?
Yeah.
This is, yeah, yeah.
Great,
He makes a living out of, you know, doing music, so,
this is awesome.
you know, and that's the beauty of the meetups. And, you know, it only happens if somebody just says, okay, you know what, we'll go out there in the universe and, you know, and try to pull people together and just go from there. You know, so I definitely don't want this to be about me. I want it to be about all of you guys. And I also brought my first workstation, which is running Ableton. I have Ableton Live on that one. So if anybody's just kind of want to get curious, I'll go ahead and get them set up on that. And let's see, you have your setup?
Yeah, just
Your
on
laptop?
top.
Hey,
But
you know, go ahead and set it up, and
Alright.
if you wanna just kinda, you know, like I said, I would like for us to just kinda go around, those of us who have setups.
Sure.
You know, we can just kinda demo what we have, how we go about our creative process. You know, if you have something that's already pre-made, great. If you have something that you wanna just do on the fly, just to say, yeah, I usually start like this and tinker and blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna tell you, the meetup that I was at in San Diego, there was a guy that got up and literally just went through his preset sounds and was like, doo, 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 doo. And, you know, hey, okay, you know, at the end of this,
whatever.
8 to 10 minutes, you know, cool, thanks for your time, you know, you know, but it's that kind of comfort level that, you know, I would like for us to have and maintain, you
Can
know.
we meet up around the table just for a second so that you two can show us your configurations?
Oh, yeah, we're definitely gonna get there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna get there. You know, that's why I want everybody that has their setups, go ahead and set up. Definitely go ahead and set up. Josh, are you already, you know, do you wanna demo anything or?
It doesn't matter, I'm just gonna take a couch really.
Okay.
I just wanna see who's around. You know what's
Okay.
funny about it? You know, you've been here for a month.
Yeah,
I moved to Virginia in 2006,
okay,
right? And the ironic thing was I was actually in London when I just decided to have a look. So I was like, you know, why not? Because I knew I was coming back. I was like, why not? Let me just have a look at MeetUp, and then just see, you know, you just popped in and you're like, you know, nothing here, blah blah blah. Wow, literally the 12 years that I've been here, never seen anything like this. So,
Just-
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. He's like,
Yeah.
I just moved here to California and I'm starting this. I was like, heck yeah.
I've lived here my whole life, and I'll tell you, there's been nothing like this.
wow.
I was just looking for some digital animation or something,
Yeah.
something close to what I was interested in, something creative.
Okay. Yeah, I actually reached out to the guy, Jesse, one of the organizers for Open House out in San Diego. And I just asked him, hey, I need you to mentor me on how to do this meetup thing. And, you know, and he was like, sure, man, you know. And it is great just being able to just be around people that are so free about sharing information and knowledge. You know, the way I look at it, I don't have a problem with sharing information and knowledge. I don't, you know, feel some kind of way about it because, hey, I can share something with you and you may do something totally different with it, or you may not do anything at all with it, you know? So, and the way I look at it, if you don't get the information from me somehow, some way, if it's meant to be, you'll get it from somewhere else. You know, so why hinder the creative process?
So what do you usually do? What's your main thing? Like perform like DJ type stuff?
No, so for a very, very long time, it's a funny story, for a very long time I've been doing music production, just being a music producer. And, you know, I started basically started music since I was 6, playing the violin.
Yeah.
But trying to make something out of the music.
Yeah. But literally just these last couple of months when I went over to London, I just realized something. I said, the whole time I've neglected myself as an artist. I've not actually allowed myself to be an artist. So what I'm doing at the moment, quite literally this week, is instead of working on other people's work and other people's projects and stuff like that, I'm just going to establish myself as an artist.
Nice.
I think it's important because, often we tell ourselves tomorrow,
Yeah.
I will be
That's
happy.
20 years
I'll be
now.
happy tomorrow, or I'll do this tomorrow because I have to do this today. But we don't know what tomorrow brings, truthfully, and we have to start now anyway, regardless of how good or bad we feel we are. So that's one of the reasons why I came today. I just wanted to see fellow artists and people that love music, and just talk.
Amen.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi,
Hello.
how are you?
Okay, Jennifer.
Jennifer, hi Jennifer.
Hey.
So Jennifer, obviously I'm Fadia. Let me see if I can get this straight. Linnell.
Oh, please. Don't even, I'm never gonna remember.
Lenice. Okay, so Lenice, Michael, Josh, Joy, Ari, Forrest. Got it, Forrest. And that's my son Jordan right there in the corner. Okay, cool. So, once again, you are
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
We have a lot of J's today.
I know, right?
It's a good letter.
So, okay. All right. So Jennifer, Lenice, Michael, Josh, Joy, Forrest, and Ari, and Jordan. Excellent. All right, cool. So I currently have in front of me the Akai MPC Live. I bought this for my birthday / Christmas present for myself, and I am a longtime Akai user since the MPC 2000, the 2000 XL. You have the Live?
Not that,
Okay.
no, I have something that almost looks like that, but it's by that company.
Oh,
I
Akai?
got it off of, not
Okay.
Walmart, but, Amazon.
Okay. Well,
But it's a cheap kind.
so it's more than likely a controller. Yeah. Okay, I know, right? So it's probably a controller, MIDI controller, which is great. Akai makes all sorts of stuff. Love the company, great company. Even though of late, they've been kind of slacking on their support a little bit, but still love the legacy behind it. I've owned the Akai MPC 2000, the 2000 XL, the MPC 1000, the MPC Renaissance, and then when they went to the MPC Renaissance, it was this big console, and it was actually a controller. It was cool, great concept, except if you want to be like really truly mobile, and just pull something out, turn it on, stick your headphones in, and just go ham, So I had missed that, and I got rid of it, and that was when I ended up making the switch to Ableton Live.
Okay.
And I did, I did quite a bit of stuff in Ableton Live, because I didn't want to go back to Fruit Loops. I did use Fruit Loops at one point in time as well.
Fruit Loops
And,
anymore.
say it?
Not called Fruit Loops anymore.
Well, FL Studio, I'm sorry. Now I'm aging myself when I actually started
I
using
still
it.
call it Fruit Loops too.
I know, right?
I did it when it was Fruity Loops.
Yep, you did it when it's Fruity Loops. You got that, did you purchase that downloaded version with a lifetime
No,
upgrade?
I actually had it in college.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
I was laughing at it too. I was like, why would we never this in college? Pro Tools right here. No, go Fruit Loops.
I know. So, so I've used Pro Tools. I find Pro Tools is great for recording and editing audio. However, for music production, it does not work for my, my workflow. And, as I would tell anybody, find what works for you and then commit to it. Commit to it, learn the ins and outs of it, work the heck out of it, and that's what I ended up doing with Ableton Live when I went on deployment. Okay.
MIDI, just to make sure I understand MIDI in very general terms, because I've hardly used it, if at all.
Okay.
MIDI is just, as opposed to using a guitar or piano, for example, you're playing virtual sounds with an external controller,
With
right?
an external
That's like what
controller.
MIDI is,
Pretty much, yeah.
for the most part.
Well, that's the most common use. There's other uses, but
Okay.
like SysX and all that kind of stuff. But that's another time.
Okay.
Yeah, another time.
Cool.
So if you just get used to the idea that the communication protocol that is utilized that will allow your hardware to communicate through the ports and back into the software is MIDI. That's the protocol. Musical Instrument Digital Interface, that's what it stands for, okay? So, it's very, very old technology, but guess what? It works and it ain't going nowhere anytime soon.
One thing I would like to say is that when we were in college, again, in 2003, what you just said was correct. This is the first thing that you learn. It's called signal flow, that's what we call it. And it basically means that everything has an out or an in. And if you understand signal flow, you think you're talking about guitars, for instance. If you want the amplifier, or if you want your ears to hear the guitar, right, you're going to take it out of the guitar, sound's coming out of the guitar, going in to the amplifier, right, and it's coming out the amplifier to my ears. It's exactly the same concept. That's what he was saying. MIDI, don't get caught up on MIDI so much, because, you know, like Denise was saying, she's old school. We used to, you don't always have to anymore, but you used to have to use, and that's why there's two MIDI cables here. You used to have to use a MIDI out, a MIDI in, sometimes even a MIDI through when you go there. But nowadays, like my setup, for instance, I don't have any MIDI cables. I'm just using a USB, because we're using USB 3 nowadays. It's become so fast now.
But you still refer to that as MIDI.
You would call it a MIDI connection in some ways, but
And that's because of what it used to.
exactly.
I got you, I got you.
But really, all that matters, as Faye said, it's about where we start. In this case, keyboard is going out to interface. Interface is going out to the laptop. See, and you have to understand where the final laptop's going back. It's going back into the interface. Or this little thing over here, and it's coming out here, and it's coming out here to our ears. That's all we have to understand.
Right here is guitar effects I was trying to trigger.
Alright, so let's just say that's what we wanted. So then, it depends what you hear next. You can start singing, you know. And you can put it on your phone and record it. And you put it in there, and then you start manipulating it the way you want to. Or you can do something else.
So now, do you use the same process?
A lot of the time.
Pretty much, you know, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just different platform. Like I use I'm in Ableton sometimes, and sometimes I'm on the MPC Live. You know, lately I've just been going straight off the MPC Live, and then I'll take it right on into Ableton, and I'll flesh it out a little bit more there. Yeah, utilize
So
certain tools.
Ableton is that software that I got.
Yeah, you
I have to figure out how to use it.
You have to figure out Ableton, yeah. That's what you want to use for your creative process. You have Pro Tools as well. I would use Pro Tools. Like me personally, I have Pro Tools as well, but I use that for my mastering process. I use that, you know, when I'm done mixing everything down and I've dumped it down to a 2-track.
This is one of the things that I like doing musically anyway, is to take something and slow it down, or speed it up, or change the pitch, or do both, or reverse it, whatever, to kind of hear something different. So I did this. Same thing, but I've slowed it down and I've changed the pitches. It's about taking the time. It's feeling. So I would have put the bass in there next time. It's quite a simple bass. It's just a slide bass.
How do you get to
So basically I'm using
spin?
No, I'm actually just using glide.
Glide.
Yeah, so one of the easiest ways to do it, people used to think it was you take the automate the pitch. You don't have to automate the pitch. You just turn the glide on, make it monophonic, so one voice. And then all you do is you just take your first note and put another note on top of it. That's all. So it'll glide up, glide up.
How finding the spaces.
I mean, if you're doing any beat making and stuff like that, I always suggest just I don't mind playing the drums. I like playing them, but sometimes you can just feel where they need to go, where the music needs to go. In this case, what I did was just quite simply I put the kick drum in there, just gave it time. The beautiful thing about music, same as talking, we don't have to keep doing it step. We don't stop talking. We have to take breaths. So instead of me saying, all right, I'm going and I don't need that. I was just taking my time just to kind of see where the space is and what I could do with the contrast. See? And this sounds quite far away. The kick is here, closer to me. The snares are further away. And I got something even bigger here in a second. A little thing to this. Reversing it. Again, and I've got a little snap in here just for fun. Something different. It keeps it interesting to us. Now we've got the reverse. Something in. There's a lot of space here, so like, can be a bit more. There's something else in there, so I'm gonna add a little bit more. And it all came from listening to the. I said, we need a bit of movement, so we need the hi-hats. I wanted two, so you can kind of do this. It sounds like we're like a train. And that's kind of the feeling that I was going for. So now singing with each other. So there's like time in that space. This is a little piano thing I did earlier. This is literally when you sent me a message, said that I look forward to hearing your music. I was like, well, I don't know what crap I'm going to do actually, to be honest. So I literally made a quick track. It's different. I made a track and I just played just a piano piece. Now I don't actually have it in here, but I just played the piano, just kind of similar to what I did earlier today. And I manipulated that. So it's just my piano. It's just one bass and some strings. That's it. Nothing else. Just 3 instruments. So the first thing I did was I played around and then I bounced down the piano the way I wanted it to be. So I think it's this. So I actually took the piano down and I made it really, really low. So this is what you hear. Slowed it down. That's it. You feel it. I was thinking about what you were saying. What did you want to do? I was just like, And I called the song Stranger because well, everyone's alright, you know what? It's time for some bass. So I put the bass in. Then I add some strings. I play these strings. It kind of makes you feel like you're breathing a little faster, but that's what it goes for. Okay, that's what I did. So then, because I'm a violinist and I love violin, I actually chose the cello.
Did she play?
And I played this on the keyboard. And this is what it sounds like.
And this is one my cousin and I.
Yeah, it can be heartbreaking when you get something really
Yes.
nice.
So we find a piano. So my cousin's really good with music.
So that's your main instrument, guitar.
Yeah, it's the only one.
So he made music. So
You sing.
Huh?
Just singing.
Yeah.
So that's your second instrument.
Okay, so you guys play the piano portion?
Yeah, and he just did it clicking, you know.
Oh, he just clicked it, okay, so.
So the whole thing is like cumbersome, you know.
Okay, so he understands a
I
little
don't
bit about
even,
music
like,
theory then.
I'll make
Exactly, he does know music theory. So he made this.
No,
Like,
I was trained. I like at a young age. I still don't remember them, so I'm gonna be like.
so then I got my 2.5-year-old son to
Yeah,
like
so-
play around with it
Basically,
Okay.
with a microphone. Check it out.
in Western music,
I should go at the zoo and go to the zoo.
in Western music,
That
in this case, this
was funny.
That's fine.
You can even say something silly, whatever you want.
Okay.
that's the three bar.
Patrick got
The
it.
bar in this case,
Yeah.
4 beats in one bar. I know it's a bit complicated, but that's why I say
Papa got it.
most of the time you just have to
Yeah.
four when
It
you
came
came
out
out.
really clear.
Decent, right?
Yes.
So yeah, but each one of those tracks is just selecting different voice on the keyboard and recording a track.
This is the, I had to learn that.
Okay.
as well.
But anyway, that's it.
Basic song.
So that's kind of what I've
You're
been
gonna have
recently
verse,
messing with. Is just
Okay.
your chorus,
recording live tracks
and
in since I can't
possibly
figure out just
you don't always have to
MIDI
have
things.
And that's basically what makes
But
it a song.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
So and sometimes
You know what you can do
and
is,
sometimes an outro. It depends on
what kind of
you
keyboard is it?
So the point I'm making is that you don't have to pull these things up. You can
I
use it.
think it's
Say,
called,
look,
I think it's like
I know
505,
this is the verse,
535
I know
or
this is the
something.
verse.
Yeah, and you know, tell you what, message me the model,
Write
make
down
model of it,
Okay.
and everything,
What
and
instrument
might-
you
the
want,
operating
instead of
system that you're
playing.
running with.
Okay.
And then you think you put a chorus.
I'm
And on
gonna
the
do
paper, you
some
actually
research to
see
see
Yeah.
what the project is going on with that.
Alright, yeah.
I bet you if it was Mac though, it would be like.
That will help
You think? You think?
Heck yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I hadn't had any drive
How
issues
to
out of
write
Macs.
those
Yeah.
songs.
You hold it.
Yep, no repeat right there. Yeah. And then if I hit like full level, then it doesn't matter how hard or how light it
Right.
goes, it'll just be at the full level. You know,
I just touched like
go for it.
you got all.
It's just like when you go
Or if I switch the program,
like videos and you get all the people are also
like, I like that kid.
comments.
Now, as far as that no repeat, if I were to hit this, if I hit no repeat, it'll set the count off. So,
Oh, you can
well, the MP, you know, and at the end of the day, it's, you have to find the workflow that works for your creative process, it has to work well with your creative process. And sometimes it may require some, you know, some trial and error.